Okay, we begin today the Gemara on the third line from the top of Daf Lamed Dalet. This is actually in the middle of a Braisa. The Braisa is discussing the mitzvah of Tkiyah Shofar. In the beginning of the Braisa, it brings the connection that there is from the mitzvah of blowing shofar on Rosh Hashanah and the shofar of Yovel. And the Gemara, the Braisa says, because it says B'chodesh Hashvi on Yom Kippur, so we learn out that the shofar of Yovel, which is B'chodesh Hashvi in the 7th month, and the shofar of Rosh Hashanah, which is in the 7th month, are compared to each other. Regarding, you have to blow the Tkiyah, then the Truah, then the Tkiyah. Okay, now the Braisa continues to explain how we learn out the mitzvah, the way we do Tkiyah Shofar. Uminayin l'shalosh shel shalosh shalosh. How do we know that we have to blow these three sounds of Tkiyah, Truah and Tkiyah, 3 times? Right? We blow it once by Malchias, and then Zechraynis, and then by Shofar. How do we know this? Talmud Loima, the pasuk says, there are 3 times that it says Va'avarta Shofar Truah. That's one pasuk which it says actually by Yovel, and then it says Shabbos and Zichrin Truah and Yom Truah Yilachem. The other 2 psukim say by Rosh Hashanah. So it doesn't all say by Rosh Hashanah, 2 by Rosh Hashanah and 1 by Yovel. So how do I know to put it together that the pasuk that says by Yovel belongs to Rosh Hashanah and what it says by Rosh Hashanah goes on Yovel as well? Talmud Loimar Shvi Shvi L'Gzeir Shava. So there's a Gzeir Shava because in the pasuk by Rosh Hashanah it says Shvi, and by Yovel it says Shvi. So I compare them that by all of them you have to blow 3 times Tkiyah through a Tkiyah. So HaKeitzad Shalosh Shehein Teisha. So you're blowing 3 times Tkiyah through a Tkiyah, which together is 9 sounds. Then the Braisa concludes, and this was quoted before in the Gemara, shiur Tkiyah Ketrua. The shiur, the length of a Tkiyah is like a Truah. And what is a Truah? Shiur Truah is Keshloisha Shvarim. The shiur of a Truah is 3 Shvarim. As we said before in the Gemara, this is one opinion. Another opinion is that it's 3 Truahs, it's 3 Yevavis. As we saw before in the Gemara, there are 2 opinions there.
What's really the kasha of Minayin Litzin is Omer Shel Zeb Zeb? Because
Yeah.
you had it 2 times before.
Yeah. Okay, the Gemara is going to address that right now. Talk to Gemara. So this is the conclusion of the Braisa. So now that the Gemara has a simple question here. Hi Tana. The Tana of this Braisa. Meikare Maisile Be'akesha. Already in the beginning he says there's a hekesh. Just because the Torah writes by Yovel the term Shvi, so I compare that everything in the 7th month is the same. Without Gzeir Shava. We have the hekesh in the beginning of the Braisa. V'hashta Maisile B'Gzeir Shava. Then in the end of the Braisa it starts asking again the question, how do I know to compare them to each other? And it brings the Gzeir Shava. That you have the words Shvi, which is a Gzeir Shava. Hekesh and a Gzeir Shava is not the same thing. Hekesh is just the fact that it says Shvi, so I compare everything in the 7th month. Gzeir Shava is, you learn La Moshe Misina, Gzeir Shava, that there are 2 words that I'm comparing. Shvi. So why do you need the Gzeir Shava if you have a Hekesh? So the Gemara explains, Hachi Ka'ama. The way to understand this Braisa is as follows. Ilav Gzeir Shava, if I would not have this Gzeir Shava, have a Mesina Lo Be'akesha. So I have the Hekesh because the Torah writes Shvi, everything in the 7th month is compared. Hashtad Asik Gzeir Shava, but now that we have the Kabbalah of this Gzeir Shava, so then Akesha Leitzarech. I don't need the Hekesh. So according to the Maskana of the Braisa that it brings the Gzeir Shava, you don't need the Hekesh. That's how you read this Braisa. Okay, this is the conclusion of one opinion.
How does that work with this? In other words,
in the end of the Braisa,
they didn't know
no, it's one Braisa. It starts off saying the Hekesh, but in the end of the Braisa it says the Gzeir Shava, and once it says the Gzeir Shava, you have to understand that the Hekesh that's brought in the beginning is not necessary. You can just learn everything out from the Gzeir Shava. So now according to the Tana of this Braisa, where do we learn out the Tkiyah Shofar Rosh Hashanah? From Yovel, regarding the Tkiyah, the Truah and the Tkiyah, and regarding the fact that you do 3 times. It's all learned out from Yovel. But now there's another Braisa that says we don't learn from Yovel everything, we learn from another place. Dr. Gemara, V'hai Tana Maisela B'Gzeir Shava Mi Midbar. Here you have another Tana that learns it out with a Gzeir Shava from this that it says in the Midbar. Over there it talks about Chatzaitzres, that they have to blow the Chatzaitzres when they travel in the Midbar. The Tanya you learned in the Braisa. It says Uskatem Truah. This is talking when the Yidden are traveling. You should blow a Truah. So what does this mean? Tkiyah b'fnei atzma. You blow first a tkiyah, that's what uskatem means, and then a truah b'fnei atzma. Then you blow a truah. So now the Gemara explains, or the Braisa explains, you say tkiyah b'fnei atzma, truah b'fnei atzma, that you're blowing first a tkiyah and then a truah. Oyenoi el tkiyah truah achas. Maybe it's really all one. Uskatem truah. How do you know it means to blow a tkiya and to blow a trua. Maybe skatam trua means blow a trua, which really means just to blow one trua and that's it. So Gemara says, no, that can't be, because kashuaymer uva hakil es hakol. When the pasuk speaks about blowing the trumpets to gather the Yidden, there it says tisku v'loy sariu. Over there you blow only a tkiya and not a trua. So havayayme, if so, you have to say that when it comes over here in this pasuk, uskatam trua, which is not talking about gathering the Yidden. Here it's talking about when the Yidden are going to be traveling. So you can't blow the trumpets in the same way. You have to see the difference of when they're being gathered or when they're traveling. So havayme tkiya b'fnei atzma and trua b'fnei atzma. So here in the pasuk uskatam trua, when they're traveling, so you blow a tkiya separately and a trua separately. So that's how you know that it's two. How do I know that the tkiya comes first? So you see this also right here. Tamad loima uskatem trua. It says first uskatem, so first comes the tkiya and then comes the trua. From where do I know that in addition you have to also blow another tkiya after the trua? Tamad loima, the pasuk there also says regarding when the Yidden are traveling, trua yisku, that you should blow a trua. So from this we learn out, it says first trua, then it says yisku, so you blow a tkiya after the trua. You don't need to learn it from this pasuk trua yitku, but rather it says over there usekatem trua shenis, that you should blow the trua shenis. She'ein talmud loymar shenis. It's not necessary to say shenis, that you blow again. It said already before, skatem trua, that when you travel, you blow. Why does it have to say this over here again? It's an extra pasuk. Ma talmud loymar shenis. Ze bona av. This is a source that it teaches you for all places. Shekol makim shenem trua. Whenever the Torah says the term trua, that you blow a trua, tehei tkiya shniela, that after the trua comes also a tkiya following it. So here you see the tkiya shalachreah. Eliela bamidbar. Okay, so this is how they blew when they traveled in the midbar. Tkiya, trua, tkiya. Rosh Hashanah minayin. So this brayse is going to learn out from this to Rosh Hashanah. So how do I know on Rosh Hashanah? Talmud loymar. This is. Wait, so right here. The Gzeir Shav is right here. Talmud loymar. So the brayse answers the Gzeir Shav is trua l'Gzeir Shav. I learn out Gzeir Shav. It says over there trua, and it says here by Rosh Hashanah trua. So that's the Gzeir Shav. So the previous brayse learned out Gzeir Shav shvi from Yovel. This brayse learns out the Gzeir Shav of trua from midbar. Now v'shalish truais nemru b'Rosh Hashanah. The time of this brayse continues. It says 3 times trua by Rosh Hashanah. It says Shabbos and Zichrin trua, Yom trua, va'avarta shofet trua. So it says 3 times trua by Rosh Hashanah. Now the truth is, it doesn't say these 3 psukim are not all by Rosh Hashanah. Va'avarta shofet trua is by Yovel. So that means that even the Tana of this brayse, regarding this detail, he is learning it out from Yovel. Regarding what he said before, that you blow tkiya, trua, tkiya, that seder of the tkiya before and the tkiya after, that he learns out from the midbar. But the fact that you blow 3 times, that he also learns out from Yovel, as it brings right here. And as we learned out, according to this Tana, from the midbar, he has to be 2 tkiyas for each trua. So if so, it comes out. Shalosh truais v'sheish tkiyas. So you blow 3 truais and 6 tkiyas. Nemre b'Rosh Hashanah. That's what it says regarding blowing on Rosh Hashanah. But now the Tana of this brayse says as follows: Shtayim midivrei Torah. 2 of them are going to be minat Torah. When you blow tkiya, trua, tkiya twice, that's minat Torah. But v'achas midivrei seifrim. But the 3rd time, one of them is only going to be minat rabbanon. Why is that? So the brayse explains. We just bring 3 psukim. We said there's Shabbos and Zichron Trua, and then we brought Yom Trua and Avarta Shofet Trua. So there are 3 psukim. So why is one of them with the Rabbanon? So the brayse says, because Va'avarta Shofet Trua B'divrei Torah. That pasuk is Minat Torah. When it says Yom Trua Yilachem, second I skipped one pasuk. Shabbos and Zichron Trua and Va'avarta Shofet Trua is B'divrei Torah. Those 2 psukim is Minat Torah. But Yom Trua Yilachem, from there, I can't learn out regarding the 3rd time to blow, because the Talmudei Huba, the only reason the Torah wrote the 3rd pasuk is for the limud of the Gzeir Shav. We said before we had the Gzeir Shav of trua. So the 3rd pasuk is only being written for that Gzeir Shav, but not to tell you that you have to blow a 3rd time tkiya, trua, tkiya. So therefore, the fact that we blow a 3rd time tkiya, trua, tkiya is a midrabanan. Rabbanan was saymicher on this pasuk. It's an asmachta, but that's not really minat Torah. That's the first Tana here. Matamudei ba.
That's interesting because that's the one that says by Rosh Hashanah.
And a chanami, but that's the pasuk that's for the Gzeira Shava. Rab Shmuel ben Achmeini Omer Rabbi Yonasan. So he says actually achas midivrei Torah, that only one of the times that we blow tkiya through a tkiya on Rosh Hashanah is min Torah. Ushtayim midivrei seifrim, and the other two times we blow tkiya through tkiya, they're midrabanan. And he explains avarta sheifer trua, that's midivrei Torah, that is min Torah. Then when it says shabbos in zichrein trua, and when it says v'yoyim trua yilachem l'talmudai huba, both of them are being used for a drasha, and they can't come to teach you to blow another time tkiya through a tkiya. So the Gemara explains what is this drasha that it's being used for. So we know one of the times when it says trua, it's being used for the drasha of the Gzeira Shava, as we just said. But what's another time that it's being used for the drasha? So Maila Talmudei Huba. Why are we saying that there's another time trua that you need it for the drasha? So the Gemara explains that mibaye, we need this drasha to teach us by yoim v'loy balayla, that you blow shofar, the mitzvah of shofar on Rosh Hashanah is only by day and not by night. So from the pasuk Shabbos and Zichrein Trua, from that word Trua, I use it for the Gzeira Shava. And then when it says Yom Trua, that's not coming to teach you to blow a third time, it's coming to, or even a second time, it's coming to tell you Yom, that you blow only by day and not by night. So you really only have one pasuk where the Torah tells you the mitzvah of blowing the Trua, the Tkiya Trua Tkiya, so only one is Minat Torah. So the Gemara now says V'idach, the first Tana in this Braise, from where does he learn out that you blow shofar only by day and not by night, if he does not learn it out from here? By Yom v'lei balayla minole, from where does he know this? Nafkele, he learns it out, mi by Yom HaKippurim. Since we compare the Tkiya shofar of Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, and by Yom Kippur in the pasuk it says, by Yom HaKippurim, so we know it's by day. So the Gemara, wait a minute, are you saying that the Tana of this Braise is also comparing Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur? The whole point of here was that the Tana of this Braise says that he has a Gzeira Shava to learn about the mitzvah of Shofar and Rosh Hashanah from Midbar, not from Yovel. He had the Gzeira Shava to learn from Midbar. But now you're telling me that he also learns out from Yom Kippur to say that you blow only by day. So frag the Gemara, so if he learns out this halacha, that you blow shofar only by day from Yom Kippur, so then nigma nami minei, so let him learn out from Yom Kippur also everything, from Yovel, from Yom Kippur everything, that l'pshuta l'faneh, l'pshuta l'achrea, the say that how you blow the trua, and you have to have a tkiya before and the tkiya after. So why doesn't he learn everything out from Yovel by Yom Kippur? Why does he have to learn it out from the midbar? So the Gemara answers, because v'havarta ta'aviru loy mashmalahu. He doesn't hold of the translation of these words, havarta and taviru, that it means a tkiya. What is the simple translation of the word havarta? You should pass. You should bring to pass. So the Tana in the previous Braisa says, what does bring to pass regarding blowing shofar mean? It means to blow one long sound. But not the Tana, not this Tana. The Tana of this Braisa says, vahavarta and taviru does not mean a tkiya. So therefore he can't learn out from Yom Kippur that it means to blow a tkiya. So Ella, the Gemara explains, so my darshibu. So then what does vahavarta and taviru mean according to the Tana of this Braisa? My darshibu, vahavarta, what does vahavarta mean? Kid Rav Masna. He learns out like what Rav Masna said. Rav Masna, vahavarta, when the Torah says vahavarta shofar trua, what it means is derech havarosai. It's telling you how you're supposed to hold a shofar. Hold the shofar in the right way, the way it grows in the animal. Then the narrow side is what you put into your mouth and you blow in that way, the shofar. In other words, the word vavarta is not describing the sound, that it should be like to pass one long sound. It's describing the shofar itself, how you hold the shofar. And taviru de kamerachmana, and when the Torah writes taviru, what does it mean to say? It's also not talking about the sound. What it means is nabre beyad. Nabre biyad means, according to Rashi, bring it with your hand in all the different places that you have to blow the shofar. Right? What's the lashon of the pasuk? Taviru shofar b'chol artzachem. Right? So what does that mean? Bring the shofar with your hand in all of the different places that you have to blow. So it's talking about the shofar itself. It's not talking about the sound of the shofar. Taisus over here says a little bit differently. Interesting thing, that the taich of nabre biyad means that when you blow shofar, you can't like put the shofar on the table and then put your mouth in the shofar and blow it. When you blow the shofar, you have to hold the shofar while you're blowing it. Okay, interesting. But then Taisus says, Pirush HaKuntras Iker, Rashi's pshat is the main pshat. Okay, the Gemara continues and says, now according to the other opinion, the Rav Masne had is the other opinion that says that we use va'avarta to learn out the halacha of a tkiyah. It is talking about the sound of the shofar, that you have to make that one long sound. So how does he know this halacha of Rav Masne, that when you blow the shofar, you have to hold the shofar the way it grows, and the narrow side is what you put into your mouth? Where do you learn that out from? So the Gemara says you can learn both out from the same word. Midishani b'dibure, from the fact that it changes the words, so it should have written the word tkiyah, titku, or some kind of a lashon that is directly, it means the lashon of tkiyah. And so the Torah switched the lashon and it uses a lashon vahavarto, which is an unusual word if you're talking about the sound of the shofar. So I learn out two things. I learn out the halacha that you have to sound the tkiyah, and I also learn out from the shini that it changes the expression. So I learn out the lashon also that it means that it has to be b'derech havara, like Rav Masna said, you have to hold the shofar in the right way. Taviru biyad leimotzes amris. And now, when it says taviru, so according to him, you can't tell me that this means that you have to hold it in your hand, that all it means is that you have to bring it with your hand to every single place where you blow shofar. Why not? The Gamar Evra Avara mi Moshe. He learns out Avara from what it says by Moshe. In other words, the point that the Gemara is explaining now is that according to the first Braisa, that says that taviru goes on the sound of the shofar. How did you know it refers to the sound of the shofar and not simply that you hold it in your hand and you bring it to every single place? Because you learn out from what it says, the same expression by Moshe Rabbeinu. Ksiv vacha avarta shofar trua. Ksiv hasam, and it says over there by Moshe Rabbeinu, vayitzav Moshe vayaviru koil b'machne. So it uses the term vayaviru, and it's talking about the sound that they brought into the machne. Mala alon bekoil. Just like by Moshe Rabbeinu, the term vayaviru refers to the sound. It doesn't refer to the holding of the physical shofar, but it refers to the sound. Avkam bekoil. So over here as well, according to the Tana in the first Braisa, vahavarta or taviru refers to the sound of the shofar. Okay, so that's the machlokes. The two Tanaim of the two Braises, one learns it out from Yovel, and the other learns it out from the Midbar. The basis of their machlokes is, what does the word vahavarta or taviru mean? In the first Braisa he holds, we have this Gzeira Shavar from Moshe Rabbeinu, that vahavarta means the sound of the shofar, so therefore we could learn from there the tkiyah, that you have to blow the tkiyah. The second Tana holds, no, vahavarta is referring to the physical shofar, that you have to hold the shofar and you have to hold it in the right way, so therefore it doesn't tell you anything about the tkiyah, and therefore he learns it out from what it says by the Midbar. But now the Gemara asks on the Tana that learns it out from the Midbar, Lahai, Tane, the Maisilom in Midbar, if you're learning it out from what it says by the Midbar, Imalalon Chatzaitzres, but over there in the Midbar they use trumpets. Avkan Chatzaitzres, maybe on Rosh Hashanah you should use trumpets as well. Now, don't forget that on shofar, on Rosh Hashanah, it never says in the Torah to use a shofar in the Chumash. It just says Trua. How do we know shofar? The first Tana learned it out from Yovel, that it says by Yovel shofar. But according to this Tana, it should be Chatzaitzres. Talmud Laima, so therefore this Tana has to learn it out from the Pasuk in Tilim. Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'kesel yem chagenu. Ezeu chag shachodesh miskasebe. When it says to blow shofar b'keseh, so this refers to Rosh Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah is the yontif that the new month is hidden there, which means, according to Rashi's pshat, this is that the moon. The moon disappears, you can't see it for about 24-hour period in the new month. So the Havayim is Rosh Hashanah, this refers to Rosh Hashanah. So we learn it out from this pasuk that we know that we blow on Rosh Hashanah with a shofar. V'kom Rachman a shofar. Here it says in Tilim that it has to be a shofar. Okay, so this concludes the sources from where we know that you blow a tkiyah, a trua, and a tkiyah, and that you blow 3 times. Now the Gemara comes back to what we started off in the beginning, talking about the trua. There's a machlokes what the trua is. Is the trua what we call trua today, the short sounds, or is the trua the shvarim? So that Gemara asking Rabavo instituted, in the city Kesari, that you should blow tkiyah, and then shloisha shvarim, then 3 shvarim, and then a trua, and then you also blow the trua, and then you blow the tkiyah. As we blow today, the tashrat, tkiyah, shvarim, trua, tkiyah. That's how you should blow both the shvarim and the trua. Okay, so the Gemara asks in this, how is that going to work? Manavshach. Either way, this is not good. If the meaning of trua is when a person wails and it's shorter sounds, so then liyavid, tkiyah, trua, tkiyah. Then you should blow tkiyah, trua, and tkiyah. V'genuchi ganach. If you have to blow, when a person moans and groans, when you have longer sounds and therefore it has to be like the shvarim, so levet tkiyah and shleishet shvarim and tkiyah. So you should blow tkiyah and then the shvarim and then the tkiyah. Why are you blowing both the shvarim and the trua and then the tkiyah? So the Gemara explains, because misapkelei, because that's exactly his suffix. He has a suffix, ignuchi ganach, yuli yalo. Because we have a suffix what it means, so therefore you have to blow both the shvarim and the trua. But the Gemara asks on this, maskefla Rav Avira asks, Vidilmi yeluli have, but maybe if the pshat of trua is the shorter sounds, so then the kamafsik, then there's a hefsek, the kamafsik shloisha shvarim ben trua l'tkiya. Blowing the shvarim between the first tkiya and the trua is a hefsek. You're not supposed to make this hefsek of the sound of the shvarim. So how can you make a hefsek in the middle with a shvarim over here if it might be dafka the trua? Answers the Gemara, the hadar of it, tkiya, trua, tkiya. You're right, according to Rabbi Vo, after you blow tkiya, shvarim, trua, tkiya, then you have to blow tkiya, trua, tkiya. Maskefla Ravina, so Ravina asks him this, but v'dilme genuche have, maybe the trua and the taita means genuche, they're longer sounds, and which is a shvarim. And the kamafseke trua bei shvarim l'tkiya. So when you blow tashrat, so the trua after the shvarim separates between the shvarim and the second tkiya. So how could you blow the trua there? So the Gemara again says the hadar of it tkiya shvarim tkiya. He's going to blow again tkiya shvarim tkiya. So this is exactly what we do today, right? We blow tashrat and we also blow tarat and tashat. We actually do it in a different order. We blow first tashat and then tarat. There is some that are geiris in the Gemara that change the order of the way the Gemara asks the question according to the way we do it. First tashat and then tarat. So the Gemara says, Elo, if so, Rabavo, my asking. So Rabavo, what was Rabavo coming to institute? We started off saying Rabavo came and said you should blow tkiya, shvarim, trua, tkiya. But now you're telling me that after you blow tkiya, shvarim, trua, tkiya, you blow tkiya, shvarim, tkiya, and you blow tkiya, trua, tkiya. So if you're already anyways blowing tkiya, shvarim, tkiya, trua, tkiya, so you already will yaitze both options that it's either a shvarim or a trua. So why do you have to blow together? If the trua and the taita means the longer sounds, ha'avdei. So he blew the shvarim. If it's the shorter sounds, ha'avdei. He blew the tkiya, trua, tkiya. So why are you blowing tashrat, the shvarim and the trua together? And for the Gemara, mesap kelei, because he actually has a suffix, dilme gonach ve'yolol. Maybe when the Torah writes trua means both together, like the nature of a person when he cries. First he moans and then the person wails. So maybe it's both together. In fact, the Gemara is going to explain. So maybe there should be a fourth option. Maybe you should also do tkiyah and then the trua first, and then shleishet shvarim and then the tkiyah. Right, so because dilme yalil v'gonach, maybe first has to come the wailing, the sound of the trua, and then comes the shvarim. So maybe you should do that as well. So the Gemara says no. Stame de milse. Usually, what happens is kimisra beinish milse. When something bad happens to a person, so bereishe gonach. First, the person groans, which is so it's longer sounds, and v'hada yalil, and then the person wails. So therefore, if you put together the shvarim and the trua, the shvarim comes first, and the trua comes second. So the point there of this whole Gemara is when it said askin Rabavo. So this was really what the Takana Rabava was in the first place. The Gemara is spelling it out slowly, but this was really the Takana Rabava was to blow tashrat, tashat, and tarat. Okay, and that's the way we blow today, the 30 kailas, to be yaitz the mitzvah minat Torah. There's the famous machlokes, we had this in the Gemara in Sukkah, towards the end of the Gemara in Sukkah, regarding the shvarim and the trua. Are you supposed to take a breath between the shvarim and the trua, or you blow the shvarim and the trua together? It's machlokes Rishayim, based on the Gemara and Sukkah, and our minig is that when you do the tkiyas before Musaf, tkiyas the miyushiv, you blow it together, shvarim and trua. When you blow it during Musaf, over there you blow it separately. Zakta Gemara Rabbi Yechanan said, Teisha tkiyas, b'teisha shas b'yayim. If a person blows 9 tkiyas, this includes the truas as well, and he blows it throughout the day, in 9 hours in the day, doesn't blow it together, Yatsa. You'll be yaitz. In other words, the fact that you're interrupting between one and another doesn't matter. You can blow it throughout the entire day, in 9 hours in the day. Tanya Namiyachi, we learned this in a brayse. Shama teisha tkiyas b'teisha shayis b'yayim. Person that heard the 9 tkiyas, 9 of the sounds of the shofar during the 9 hours of the day, he'll be yaitz. Then the brayse says, mites b'nei adam ke'echad. If you hear the 9 sounds of the shofar, minat Torah, from 9 people at once, the tkiyah, the trua, the tkiyah, all from 9 different people blowing at once, lo yatsa. You're not going to be yaitza. Tkiya mizeh or trua mizeh. But if you hear a tkiya from one person first and then a trua from another person afterwards, yotza. Then you will be yotza. So you see here the word lo yotza is in brackets. Rashi is not goydis lo yotza. Rashi is goydis yotza. Rashi says, we had before in the Gemara on Daf Chav Zayin, that when something is beloved to you, which is tkiya shofar that comes once a year, so you can hear two sounds at once. Trei kolim mishtami. So if you can hear two sounds at once, so if you have 9 people blowing the 9 kolos of the shofar all at the same time, you're going to be yotza. That's what Rashi says. So therefore you change the girsa. Rashi says yotza instead of lo yotza, and Rashi actually takes out tkiya mizeh, trua mizeh, yotza, because Rashi says it's the same thing like the Braisa just said, that you're yotza if you hear it all at once. Tosfos, however, disagrees. Tosfos says that even though you could hear all the sounds at once, but over here the problem is it's supposed to be a tkiya first and a trua after, and then a tkiya following. So over here the problem is the tkiya, the trua, and the tkiya is together all at once. You're not yotza if it's all at once. It has to be dafka tkiya before and then the right seder.
So tkiya mizeh, trua mizeh means at one time?
According to if you're going to be goydis, lo yotza, then tkiya mizeh, trua mizeh does not mean at the same time. Then it means after. First the tkiya and then the trua, according to Tosfos. Sagt der Braisa weiter, va'afilu b'seid again, even if you hear the tkiya of the shofar with intervals, with big breaks between one and the other, va'afilu kol hayom kula, you spread out the blowing of the shofar the entire day, you're still going to be yotze. So this Braisa says exactly what Rabbi Yochanan said. Fragt the Gemara, Omi Amar Rabbi Yochanan hachi. Did Rabbi Yochanan say that you can make such kind of a breaks when you're blowing the shofar? Amar Rabbi Yochanan b'shem Rabbi Shimon ben Yitzadok. He said in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yitzadok, b'halel u'b'megillah. When you're saying Hallel and Megillah, if you got stuck in the middle. So Imshah Kedei Ligmar Kula, if in the middle you waited, you made a break long enough to finish the entire Hallel or to finish the entire Megillah, Chayzel Reish. You have to go back and start over the Hallel and the Megillah from the beginning. So it should be the same thing with shofar. If you made a break in the middle of blowing long enough to blow the whole thing, you should have to go back to the beginning. So how could you make a break and blow it throughout the entire day? So my answer is like Kashi, this is not a question. Hadidei and ha de Rabbi. Rabbi Yochanan himself holds it's not a problem to make a break. In the name of his teacher, Rabbi Shimon ben Yitzadok, he was saying that there is a problem to make a break. Frag the Gemara, v'didei loy. Rabbi Yochanan himself does not hold that it's a problem to make a break in the middle. V'ha Rabavo have a shakol v'azl bazrei de Rabbi Yochanan. There was once that Rabavo went and he was walking behind Rabbi Yochanan. V'have kari kriyashma. And as he was walking, he was saying kriyashma. Kimata lemavayis matunafais, when he came to an alleyway where it was dirty, there were things there that were dirty, and you're not allowed to say kriyashma there. Ishtik. So he stopped saying kriyashma. Basar the chalif, after they passed by. So Amalei Rabavo asks Rabbi Yochanan, Mahu ligmar. I made a break now in middle of saying Shema, but now could I just continue from where I stopped? Amalei Rabbi Yochanan said to him, Im shahisa kedei ligmar is kula. If when you made a break, so you waited long enough to be able to finish the whole Kriya Shema, chayzel reish. You have to go back to the beginning. So you see over here that Rabbi Yochanan himself holds making a break in the middle is a problem. So the Gemara answers, Hachi ka'amalei. This is what Rabbi Yochanan was telling me. Lididi loy svirili. I don't hold of this problem at all. And Rashi here explains that actually when the Gemara is saying, I don't hold of this, he's saying 2 points. Number one, I don't hold that when you walk in the street and there's things that are dirty there that you have to stop saying the Kriya Shema. You could have continued saying it. This is the Gemara in Brachas. The Gemara says, according to Rabbi Yochanan, in the street, because you're just walking by, we learned this out from V'haya Machanecha Kodesh, that you're not allowed to say anything of holy words of a Kriya Shema in a place where there's impure things. But that's only like inside a house. But if you're just walking by, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you cover your mouth and you can continue saying the Kriya Shema. So he's saying, according to me, you didn't have to stop in the first place. That's number one. And number two, even if you did stop, you could continue from where you were saying. You don't have to start again from the beginning. But l'didach, the svirlach, however, according to you, that you hold that you have to stop over here, im shahisa kedei ligmar is kula. So according to you, since you're asking me this question, if you stopped and you waited to finish the entire thing, chazar l'rosh, go back to the beginning. So Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold of this whole thing, but he's telling Rabbi Avo, according to you, if you stopped and you hold that if you waited, you can't go back where you stopped, so you can go back. You should go back to the beginning. Okay, some of the Rishonim say that these two things go together hand in hand. It really depends why you stopped. If you had to stop in the middle of Kriya Shema, why did you stop? If you stopped because you were forced to stop, so because you were forced to stop, so then that separates you from the Kriya Shema. So then if you waited long enough to finish the whole thing, you have to go back to the beginning. If you stopped, not because you were forced to stop, you decided to stop on your own. So then, even if you waited long enough, you don't have to go back to the beginning, because even when you did stop, you still had a connection to the Kriya Shema. You could have continued saying it any moment. It wasn't the Einus that you couldn't say it. So then you don't have to go back to the beginning. Tana Rabbanan, I'm not sure. Tana Rabbanan, we learned in the Braisa, Tkiyos, Eim, Akvai, Zu. When you blow Tkiyos, and as Rashi explains, the beginning of this Braisa is not talking about Rosh Hashanah. It talks about Bachlal, when you blow Tkiyos, even on a fast day, when they blow Tkiyos. So the Tkiyos that you blow then are not ma'akev one another. And brachos, also ein ma'akev zu. The brachos that you say on a fast day, this is referring to the brachos that you add in Shemay Nesra on a fast day. So they're also not ma'akev one another. If you only know one bracha and you don't know the other, you could say one without the other. Now regarding Rosh Hashanah, tkiyos u'brachos shel Rosh Hashanah v'shel Yom HaKippurim, the tkiyos in the bracha of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, ma'akvos. They are ma'akev one another. So there are two pshatim in this Gemara. Taisus before says that according to Rashi, the pshat over here is that the tkiyos and the brachos of Malchi, Zechreinis, and Shofris are ma'akev each other. If you're not saying the brachos, you don't blow the tkiyos. If you're not blowing the tkiyos, you don't say the brachos. But Taisvis and most of the Rishonim say that the pshat in the Gemara here is, regarding Rosh Hashanah, the tkiyos are ma'akev one another. If you can't blow a tkiyah, don't blow the trua. The tkiyos are ma'akev one another, and the brachos are ma'akev one another. That if you don't know all the brachis, if you only know Malchis and Zechreinis and not Shofris, then you can't say you have to know all of them. Similar to what we said in the beginning of the Braisa regarding the Tkiyas and the brachis. So the Gemara says, "My taime." What's the reason regarding Rosh Hashanah that they're ma'akev one another? Amar Rabbe says, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter says, Imru lefanei b'Rosh Hashanah, say in front of me on Rosh Hashanah, Malchis, Zechreinis, and Shofris. Malchis, you say Malchis, Kadesh Tam Lichuni Aleichem, to bring the Eibishter's kingdom upon us. Zechreinis, Kadesh Yaveh Lefanei Zechreinechem L'Teiva. Zechreinis is to bring the good remembrance of the Eibishter. The Eibishter should remember us for the good. Ubameh, and with what? B'Shofar. You do it through blowing the shofar. So over here in the Girsa and our Gemara it says Bameh b'Shofar. It doesn't mention the psukim of Shofris. It just says Bameh b'Shofar. But in some other Girsas it says Shofris. The Ritva I think brings the Girsa that it says in the Gemara that you say the psukim of Shofris and then it says Bameh b'Shofar. Or maybe you're not even Geiris Bameh b'Shofar. Upon him, so here the Brais is explaining that the Tkiyas Shofar and the psukim are ma'akev one another, because the shofar is the actual mitzvah that expresses the connection that we have to the Eibusher through the blowing of the shofar, and the Malchias and the Zechreinis is connected. It's the same theme that's connected to the shofar, so therefore one is mashlim the other. That's the pshat according to Rashi. But according to the other Rishonim, again, as I said before, they're not mashlim one another. You can say the psukim separately, and you say the shofar, and there's the mitzvah of shofar separately, and they're not ma'akev one another. There's a very arichas sikha from the Rebbe about this piece of the Gemara here in Chelik Lamed Daled in Rosh Hashanah, where the Rebbe is masber barichas this whole inyan. Sagt the Gemara weiter, it said in the Mishnah, Misha birach v'ach kach nesmana loy shofar tekeya umeria v'tekeya. So someone that said the brachas of Malchis, Zechreinis, and Shofris, and then later he gets a shofar, so he blows the shofar later. Sagt the Gemara, taime de loy havalei shofar mei kara. The reason why he blows later is because he didn't have a shofar first. But if he has a shofar first, so kisham alahu, I say the bracha shamalu. When you hear the shofar, you have to hear it and to say the way you say the brachas. So the Gemara brings a story. Rav Papa bar Shmuel kom litzluya. Rav Papa bar Shmuel got up to daven, and he was davening himself. Amalei l'shamei, he told his servant, ki nahirna lach, when I make the signal to you, tkali. You'll blow for me the shofar. In other words, when I signal to you that I finish Malchias, you'll blow for Malchias. So you'll blow for me when the right time is in Shemay Nesra. So Rava said to him, Loi amru elo bechever ir. This halacha that you blow the shofar in the brachas of Malchias, Zechreinis, and Shofris is only bechever ir. What is bechever ir? Rashi means, chever means a chabura. When you have a tzibur, when everyone's davening together in a minyan, that's when you blow the shofar together by Malchis, Zechreinis, and Shofris. But not if you're davening yourself. If you're davening yourself, you blow the shofar separately. Tanya Nami Hachi, we learned this in Abraisa. Keshu Shaimon, when you hear the sounds of the shofar, Shaimon Allah said, you should hear the sound of the shofar in the right order, Tkiya, Tru, and Tkiya. And also, Val say the brachas, in the right order of the brachas. However, when is this that you say it on the Seder of the brachas? Bechever ir. when you're in a city with people with a minyan. But if you're not davening in a minyan, you're davening yourself, shayman ala seder. So then, yes, you have to hear the shofar in the right order, but v'shaloi al seder brachas. You don't have to hear it in the seder of the brachas. So some Rishonim say that when you're davening yourself, you blow the shofar after you finish saying the brachas, and some say you hear the shofar before. Now the Braisa continues, v'yachid shalei toka, a yachid that does not blow shofar for himself, chaveder tekele, someone else could blow shofar for you. V'yachid shalei birech, but a yachid that cannot say the bracha or is not saying the brachas of malchis, zechrenis, and shofars for himself, ein chaveder mevarach alav. Someone else cannot say the brachas of malchis, zechrenis, and shofars for you. So there's a machlekes rishonim about this, whether this is speaking about a person that knows how to say those brachas. He could say it himself, and therefore no one could say it for him, to be mitzi him. But others say that it's even a person that does not know. You can't be mitzi him, and this is a special thing when it comes to davening, when it comes to birchas hamazon. They wanted a person to daven himself. Davening is supposed to daven yourself, and therefore you're not mitzi him these brachas, even if he doesn't know it. Umitzveh betoikin yosem and amavarchen. The mitzvah is to hear the shofar more than the mitzvah to say the brachas of malchis, zechrenis, and shofars. As the Braisa says, Keitzad, shtei hayaris, if there are two cities, and you could only go to one of them, ba'achas toikin, in one of them you know that they have a shofar, they're going to blow shofar there, uba'achas mevarchen. And another city, they don't have a shofar, but they're going to say the brachas of malchis, zechrenis, and shofars. You go to the city where they're blowing the shofar, you don't go to the city where they're going to be making the brachas. So the Gemara asks on this pshita, isn't this obvious? Ha doiraisa, blowing shofars minatayra and ha derabanan, hearing the brachas of malchis, saying the brachas of malchis, zechrenis, and shofars is only with the rabbanan. And says the Gemara, loitzriche, chidasher is the afagav, the high vadai, v'ha safik, the ha vadai v'ha safik. Even though in one city you know for sure they're going to say the brachas, and in the city where they're going to blow shofar, it's only a safik that they're going to blow shofar. The suffix of the mitzvah minat Torah is stronger than the vadai midarabanan. This is a very big chiddush here. According to the Ritva, you don't always say such a thing. You don't always say that the vadai midarabanan is not as strong as the suffix minat Torah. Over here, we're talking about a city that you know that in the past they had a shofar. This year, you don't know for sure that they had a shofar. You didn't find out in advance. But because in the past they had a shofar, so you could rely on the chazakah that they always had, that they'll probably have this year. So such a kind of suffix, minat Torah, is stronger than a vadai midrabanan. But if it's a case where you have no idea whether they have a shofar or not, it's mamish a suffix, so then in such a case, a suffix minat Torah is not stronger than a vadai midrabanan. But other Rishonim disagree and say that no, even a real suffix minat Torah is stronger than a vadai midrabanan. Okay, we'll stop over here today.